I was talking to my friend Ben Ash about what guitars I could possibly review for you guys. I said, can you send me something nice, but still affordable? He asked me, well, what do you think about Ibanez? I don't think about Ibanez. Send me one. And here we are. When I say I don't think about Ibanez, it's not because I don't like Ibanez. It's just because when I first became attracted to guitars, I gravitated towards Gibson. I just wanted a Gibson. And then in the mid-90s, when I saw my first PRS with those birds and the beautiful top, I said I have to have one of those. Every time someone handed me an Ibanez, it didn't seem like me because I always associated Ibanez with Joe Satriani or Paul Gilbert. Or at the time when I first started learning, John Petrucci was playing an Ibanez. And I still lament because I remember back in the day having the opportunity to buy one of John Petrucci's Picasso Ibanez guitars for $3,000. And my parents wouldn't let me sell my kidney on eBay that week. So no bueno. And you have all these new players leading the way that play Ibanez, including the Hurricane Nita Strauss, one of the greatest guitarists on the planet, totally killing it with Alice Cooper, and has proven herself one of the guitar heroes of our day. So when people ask me, why don't I do a lot of Ibanez reviews, I've never understood a lot of their models. Everything, including this guitar, is some kind of number or name, because this is the RGA42HPT. Ibanez, can't you just call this thing like the Ibanez Blue Laser? That's the color of this finish. How rad is this thing? This finish is amazing. So when Ben asked me about Ibanez, of course I wanted him to send me one because I don't have a lot of experience. But I do have a lot of experience with guitars, so I wanted to see how good is this thing. So let's talk about the Ibanez RGA42HPT, or I'm just gonna call it the Blue Laser, because it deserves a name that you can remember even if you, I don't know, hung out with Cheech and Chong and watched Dude, Where's My Car a few times. I wanna remember this. You got a Nyatoh body, which we'll get into, very interesting wood. You have an Ibanez double locking system, looks like a Floyd Rose. These DiMarzio Fusion Edge pickups, which seem to be in a lot of their guitars. You have a coil tap switch, one volume, one tone. Smart Ibanez, I like that. And you have a 24 fret Jatoba fretboard, which we're gonna get into. It's a more sustainable modern wood, taking the place of a lot of rosewood. 24 frets, jumbo frets may I add, quite jumbo frets. Gold hardware, and I love this matching headstock with the gold. I'm not a gold guy, but it's gorgeous. And then you have this baked maple neck, which is everything. Baked maple is a thing, and we're gonna get into that as well. I'm not a matte finish guy, but holy cow, Batman. These contours, they're so ergonomic and they're beautiful to me. And maybe it's because I don't know a lot about Ibanez, but looking at this, that this was any different than a $3,000 J Custom. It's just a beautiful guitar. There's nothing, absolutely nothing about this that says cheap to me. It's only 6.8 pounds, so it's really light. It sits very nicely. So when Sam Ash sent this to me, the idea was I wanted to find a guitar that was nice, but it wasn't $6,000 where nobody could afford it. I wanted to review something that if I like this, I can tell you to go out and get it, and you don't have to mortgage your house a third time to do it. At the time of filming, this thing is only $949. When I pulled it out of the box, no case, no gig bag. Okay, I'm fine with that if this guitar is worth it for the value. It's a lot of money. Still, by today's standards and with inflation, that's an entry level into the real world of guitar. We saw a $1,200 Michael Kelly, $1,300 Epiphone Alex Lifeson the other week. You have the $879 PRS Swamp Ash SE, $900 Epiphone Emily Wolf Sheridan. So I've reviewed a lot of guitars in this range. These gold DiMarzios, where you can see the pull pieces through the gold in tandem with the gold hardware, but black, laser blue, black, and gold thing. It's working for me. I'm not a gold guy. With this Ibanez Blue Laser, it just makes sense. I saw that it's a Nyatoh body. Of course, I wanted to find out, well, what is Nyatoh? Who's using it for what? And is it any good? I played this guitar for a solid 48 hours. I'm gonna go on record as saying that this is, without question, hands down the most enjoyable guitar I've played for under $1,000 new. Period. Ever. In my life. As we know, the wood is not as much of a factor in tone on an electric guitar. Not saying that it isn't at all, because it absolutely is. But I did not want for anything while playing this. When you look up Nyatoh, you find another wood called Nato. There's a lot of guitars being made of Nato. And apparently Nyatoh is not Nato, but they're constantly being conflated as the same wood, but they're not. And then it turns out that Nyatoh is the general lumber trade name for a whole multitude of different types of wood, but it's from the Sapotacea family. Some people refer to it as Eastern mahogany because it has, to the surprise of no one, a lot of characteristics of mahogany. It's kind of known as the poor man's mahogany because it's used in a lot of cheaper guitars, and when it's been used on classical guitars and acoustic guitars, it's said to be a little bit poopy by comparison. But I wanted to know, is this the only guitar being made of this wood? And it turns out there are a lot of companies making a lot of guitars out of this sustainable wood. This Jackson Scott Ian model, BC Rich has been using it for a long time. This Legacy Series double neck is made of Nyatoh. I love it. It sounds great. I'm sure someone's gonna say, well, it has EMGs in it, so it sounds like EMGs. Exactly. If you buy Nita Strauss's signature model, guess what? The body's made of Nyatoh. And not one person on any site said, oh, I hate this guitar because of the wood. A lot of people say it's cheaper, it probably sucks, but no one said, I wish my Ibanez was made of mahogany instead of Nyatoh. I have no problem using sustainable wood as long as it works. And if that wasn't confusing enough, it has a Jatoba fretboard because there's a lot of companies that are finding alternate woods for rosewood. It's been on the CITES list. You can't get Brazilian rosewood anymore. A lot of these other species of rosewood are becoming more and more scarce. Some of them bordering on endangered. Finding alternative woods, it's a good idea. And I have no problem with it if it works. Reading about Jatoba, a lot of people call it Brazilian cherry because it kind of has this pinkish, purplish, reddish hue to it, this nice wild grain, not dissimilar from the side of this 1960s Guild acoustic. You have Indian laurel, which you find on this $900 Epiphone, is beautiful. I would say not quite as grainy as this Jatoba. One thing Jatoba and Indian laurel both have in common, they're a little bit drier than rosewood. So you're gonna have to give this thing some lemon oil to keep it happy. It's said to have pronounced mid-range to it and a lot of lows, which is why they use it on a lot of high gain kind of guitars, metal guitars, because it's supposed to cut through the mix a little bit more than rosewood does. On the other hand, rosewood's a little bit warmer overall. How much does the fretboard wood really affect the tone? I'm gonna say not that much. It's more about, does it feel good? Can you maintain it? Does it stay together? And having played this, I've got no issue with that at all. It plays awesome, it feels awesome, it looks great. Why not? No issue with Jatoba, no issue with Indian laurel. I don't think, oh my God, why didn't they give me rosewood? They gave me Jatoba! And lastly, you've got a baked maple neck. As you can see, it's multiple pieces kind of put together. Baking your maple, man. It's a good idea. You take the wood, you put them in a kiln, take out all the air so it can't actually combust. Very similar to making charcoal. And what that does is it takes out the sap, dries the wood out in a way that is the equivalent of what would happen over hundreds of years. And because of that, it becomes more durable, more resonant, and it gives it this nice color. So if you find something that's baked maple, that's a good thing. So when they ask you, do you want baked maple? You say yes. The other thing that's really disconcerting for me is this Wizard 3 neck. It feels so good, so nice. But these jumbo frets with this super flat radius, that's right, it's a 400 millimeter radius using the metric system, which works out to 15.748 inches, where you have a 12-inch radius on a Les Paul. You could even have like a 7 to 9-ish radius on a Strat. This is a super flat fretboard, made for speed, made for shredding, made for Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, and Paul Gilbert. So this week I put it in my buddy Paul Lorenzo's hands. He's the drummer in Lost Symphony. He happens to play guitar too, but he's a drummer, but a guitarist. Check it out.
got scratch fever?
Sounded pretty awesome. And I gotta say, Paul with that hat kind of has a Mick Mars vibe going for him anyway. But did you notice how he holds the pick? One of the things I'm getting all the time from people is how weird I hold a pick, because I hold a pick with 3 fingers. Most people hold a pick like so. I've been holding like this for years, and it wasn't until somebody on this channel saw me playing like, dude, that's really weird. And the truth is I've been trying to learn sweep picking, and I found out because I'm holding the pick with 3 fingers, I got the wrong angle going. So I've had to relearn how to play with 2 fingers so I can do all that sweep picking stuff. 2 fingers. I'm showing that to Paul, and Paul looks at me, he's seeing me play like this, and he goes, "You're using your hand an awful lot." "Paul, do you mean my wrist?" He's like, "Yeah, I don't use that. I go like this." Roll that back, what I showed you. Check this out. He's like scissoring back and forth, which he claims is similar to the way that Joe Perry does it. But this just goes to prove you can play the guitar any way you want. Isn't that wild? And I couldn't imagine not having repetitive motion injury after doing that. Paul, God bless you, sir. I loved how it sounded when Paul played. It really was full. It sounds great, distorted. It has an awesome tone. Cuts right through. The low end is pronounced, but it's not bassy. You can just hear it. It's got gravitas. The next day, my buddy Corey, you've probably seen him on the show before, comes over to work on some new Lost Symphony tunes. And I said, "Dude, can I put this Ibanez in your hand and point this camera at you and you tell me what you think?" These are DiMarzio Fusion Edge pickups, which I absolutely love. It seems that they're becoming more and more of a standard in a lot of the Ibanez's. These are hands down the best pickups that have come stock in any guitar that I played for under $1,000. Period. I loved these pickups. And another thing that's great about it is that you can actually tap the pickup with this little toggle. So check out this clean demo from my buddy Corey Peza from Lost Symphony.
Between the neck pickup, tapped and untapped.
I like them both.
I think the clean definitely shines a lot with that neck pickup. It's actually not really bad on the bridge.
I played that for hours yesterday, man, and those DiMarzios are amazing. They're certainly better for me than like the PRS or the Epiphone in the same price range.
Yeah, it's actually really nice, and they with this like kind of breakup tone here, it's pretty good to have like a clean with a little bit of grit on it.
Sounds really good, and I agree with Corey. I think that both the split and the humbucker sound great clean and could be used for totally different applications. Pretty funky. Well, how does it sound raging with distortion? So we plugged back into the Kemper. Check it out.
definitely, it's not...
super flat fretboard.
Yeah, I dig it. It's fast, but it's not my normal. I would get lost up here if I wasn't looking. Makes me want to play some like hair metal. That one.
That's a lot of faith you have, because we've already been eviscerated about Metallica.
It would not be a true video if I didn't butcher some Metallica riff. Yeah, it's got a meaty tone. I dig it. I don't usually go for this style of guitar.
Me either, dude. Not at all. Like Corey said, it wouldn't be a demo unless we annoyed Metallica fans by kind of playing Metallica. I hope you guys enjoyed that. This guitar sounds incredible to me. This thing is $949 and this is $879. And although I love this guitar and I thought it really excelled clean, I'm gonna put DiMarzio deactivators in it because it's just not cutting the mustard by comparison to my core PRSs. These pickups aren't just good for the price, they're good, period. So although it doesn't come with a case or a gig bag, I see where every single penny of the $949 went into this guitar. So for $949, the Ibanez Blue Laser, or as Ibanez calls it, the RGA42HPT, is the best sub $1,000 guitar I've played. I love the contours. The Jatoba fretboard is gorgeous, feels nice. These DiMarzio pickups aren't just good, they are excellent. The Ibanez double locking system, it's not my thing, so obviously if you're not looking to do lots of whammy dives, this isn't for you. But if you like this Ibanez, please go to the link in the description. It'll lead you right to Sam Ash. It'll let them know that you came through me and that you and me, we both appreciate the fact that Sam Ash is sending me these guitars to review for you. I would have never bought this. I'm really digging the super flat radius on this fretboard, this wizard neck. You see how much skinnier it is in that PRS? Man, this is some calisthenics. I'm just not used to something like this. So if you ever question whether I love Ibanez or not only do I want to buy this thing, I'm gonna have to buy a new guitar rack for all the new Ibanezes I'm inviting into my heart. Why don't you smash that subscribe button already?